can see what I've created already with 2 colorways. You can't even see it. It's very nice. And then on the back side, you can see how I carry it. So generally when you carry yarn, before you knit it again, you don't want to go over more than 4 stitches at a time without anchoring somehow. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So here I'm going to go ahead and start with my peach or coral color. And I'm going to knit the first stitch. Then I'm going to go ahead and knit my rust stitch. And I'm going to make sure this is here on top. So this comes up from underneath. That's 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to knit the coral, but I'm going to make sure that my rust stays on the bottom. My coral comes on top over that one. 1, and then now I'm going to do, this stays on top. I'm going to bring my rust. 1, 2. I have to decide which color I always want to be on top, and I decided on the coral because it's a lighter color, and if it peeks through, you really won't see it. So it stays on top. Now, I'm keeping it on top. I grab the rust and come up from underneath. Comes on top of the rust again. We got 2 of those. Then I'm going to do the rust. The rust comes from underneath. Then I will do the coral, which is staying on top of the rust. Now the rust is going to come, oops, see I went in there. It comes from underneath the coral color. And then I will knit my rust and coral. There you go. Then we're going to go and turn it around and do the pearl side, so you can see what that looks like as well. And you can see what I have created here. A very nice fabric, and there's no holes. It looks very nice. Now, in another video, I'll show you other ways you can do this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and purl back. So I have 3 pearls. 1, 2, and 3. Now remember I said I want the coral to stay on top, so I'm going to bring up the rust color right here. Now I'll do my coral again. Rust goes behind, underneath the coral. There goes my coral. So this time I think we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go over that so you can see what happens. 3, because I'm getting ready. This day I'm going to do 5 stitches. So here's number 4. That means it's time to anchor the rust color, because I'm going to do 5 of this color, okay? So when I anchor it, I am going to actually, let's see, the best way to do it. I just wrapped it. See how I'm doing that? I just wrap it, and I have just anchored it. Now, I want to make sure my thumb kind of hangs there like that, so I don't pull it too tight. And now I have done, and I'm going to do another coral. Now I'm going to pick up my rust. Coral stays on top, and I'm going to do 3 rust stitches. And this is how you do it on pearl. I like doing color work, you know, at a table so my yarn can sit somewhere. I'm going to leave the rust down. I'm going to come do the coral, keeping my thumb here like I said before so it doesn't pull it too tight. It's just a little, I call it a little, what do you call it, a buffer. So this stays on top. I want to pull it from the bottom, but that's not what we're going to do. And I will do 3. Now I'll bring my coral, and here's the coral. And here we go. And this is what we have. And so here I go. I'm going to get my needle set up first, and the yarn is coming from the back. I hold the yarn like a long tail cast on. Or actually, yeah, the long tail cast on or the twisted German cast on, okay? So I'm going to take it and I'm going to knit the first one. The coral is always on top of my rust because the rust is always going to be underneath the coral. So I do 1 and 2. I'm really trying to focus on being a lot more loose on this because I tend to tighten up. Now I do my coral. There you go. Then I will do the rust, 2, The only good thing about, well, it has a lot of good things with this, the way of holding the yarn this way. Your yarn doesn't get as tangled up as we do the other way, the back and forth. Okay, so now I will do my coral. I'm going to hold this here because I don't want to pull it too tight. Remember I said to put that yarn in there, your finger in there as a buffer. And then we'll do 2. Now we're going to do this for a while, remember, and we're going to have to wrap our rust yarn. Let me get set up here. There we go. 3, just doesn't want to stay on my thumb. There we go. Pinching it. We're going to do 4 stitches. Now I'm going to show you how to twist this yarn. So remember the coral goes on top of the brown. The brown then wraps around the coral, and now I have just anchored the brown or the rust. Now, there we go, setting it up again. It's always on top of the rust color. Then there we go here and here, and now we will knit the last stitch. I'm gonna put that here because I did carry it over 2 stitches, and I notice my edges are curling. All right, I'm going to turn it. Now we shall purl back. I get myself set up first with my needle, and now I will get my yarn set up, okay? So I will purl the first stitch. Here we go. The rust is from underneath. The coral will always be laying on top of the rust. See how it is? Here's the rust underneath, here's the coral on top. 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to do our little anchoring here for the rust. So here is my coral, and here is my rust. I'm going to take the coral, bring the rust, wrap it around, and now my coral is back in business. There we go. Rust is still underneath. 2, oops, let's see, 3, 4, oops, supposed to have a rust there. There comes my rust. Notice it's coming up from underneath the coral. There we go. Almost finished this row. Now we'll do I'm gonna put my thumb here so I have a little bit of slack in there. It's not as tight. Then I will do the coral coming up from underneath. Coral's always on top. Because here it comes. I will put this on top. Beautiful. I'm gonna make sure my thumb is there because that was 3 stitches. There we go. And that row is complete. There you go. And I can see I worked more on my tension, and I can already tell the difference. Technique 2. Thank you. Okay, this is technique 3, and we're going to do a combination of continental and English, or throwing our yarn. So I'm going into my coral, which is always on the top color. The rest is below it, and I will throw the coral. But I will scoop and pick up, continental style, the rust. So I'm using both hands equally. And notice how I'm pulling this down to give me space. And now I will throw the coral. And we're going to do this, I think we did this stitch 5 times, so we'll do it. Number 3, number 4, and now's my chance to anchor it. I'm going to anchor it a little bit differently. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my rust over the needle like this. My coral comes over here. I take the rust and flip it to the back and just knit my coral. And it's already being picked up right there. So I will go ahead and continue throwing. Then I will pick up my rust. There you go. And now I'm gonna put my rust here because I want to anchor it on the end so I don't get that curl. There you go. So I have done it continental English style. So you're either scooping or throwing your yarn. Just come back. Now I don't do this very well with on the back side of it, so we're gonna see how I can do, all right? So here's my yarn. I'm gonna go ahead and untangle it a little bit. There we go, it's untwisted. Take it and I will get started now. So the first stitch, yeah, I really struggle with my, I wanna make sure that, there you go, that with my left hand on this, for whatever the reason. So this is going to be my throwing hand, my right hand, and my left hand will be my continental. Let's see, there we go. Let's see if I can do it. I think I can. There we go. I had to get myself all wrapped up. But the tension's always important, so I'm going to go ahead and throw. And now I'm going to wrap. Let's see, I do it a little bit different. There you go. I'm doing it slow because I am not good. I do continental knitting when I'm knitting in the round. So I'm using my thumb as my buffer. I'm throwing. And that way I have the space that I need. There we go. Throwing it. Throwing. Remember, after the fourth stitch, I'm going to wrap the rust in the... So I'm going to take my rust like this. I take it over the needle. Make a little bit more tension here. My coral comes over the needle. Then I bring the rust over back towards me, and I'm knitting just the coral, and I've anchored it very nicely. Okay. There we go. Throwing. Now I have to... There you go, my continental. Let's get these set up here. So I'll do this again, continental wise, and again, continental wise. There you go. Now let's go ahead and do my coral. There we go. Now wait, let's put my thumb here as a tension, as a breaker, getting a little more tension there, right? And then I will pick or a scoop my rust color. I might be good at this by the time I do all these videos. So here we go. So now, this time it's my coral, but I'm going to take this rust on top, put my coral, bring the rust back over. Okay, let me show you what I did here. So the rust is here. I'm putting it on top of the needle. The coral comes next. I take the rust and bring it back down towards me, and then purl with the coral. There you go. Now, this is actually a little more loose than the second technique too. And there you go. 3 techniques on how to do color work. Thank you.